For the second example, in Chapter 11, we have two firms, Oil Pro and Greasetech. They form an oil market, and they compete in a Cournot duopoly. That means that they compete in quantities. They have an inverse demand curve of 100 minus 2Q. Oil Pro has a marginal cost of 12, and Gas Pro has a marginal cost of 20. So the first part asks for you to determine each firm's reaction curve. So first thing, in order to solve for this, we're going to sub big Q, capital Q, out for QO plus QG. That's reflecting the quantities from each firm. We're going to sub that into the inverse demand function. So we have then P equals 100 minus 2 times QO plus QG. And so that our new market inverse demand curve is 100 minus 2 QO minus 2 QG. From there, we're going to derive our two marginal revenue functions. So we have marginal revenue for Oil Pro is equal to 100 minus 4 QO minus 2 QG. And our marginal revenue for G is 100 minus 2 QO minus 4 QG. So we're just multiplying our B by the Q for the firm that we're talking about. Now, for both of the firms, set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, our sort of golden equation. So marginal revenue for O is equal to marginal cost for O. Both firms have different marginal cost functions. It's important to remember that here. So we have 100 minus 4 QO minus 2 QG. Set that equal to 12. And simplifying that a little bit, we have 4 QO equals 88 minus 2 QG. And dividing by 4, we should get QO equals 22 minus 0.5 QG. So that's Oil Pro's reaction function. Now let's do the same thing for the other firm G. So marginal revenue of G equals the marginal cost of G. So we have 100 minus 2 QO minus 4 QG. And we're going to set that equal to 20, which is marginal cost for firm G. Again, simplifying, we have 4 QG equals 80 minus 2 QO. Divide by 4. And we get QG equals 20 minus 0.5 QO. So that is firm G's reaction function. So we found our two reaction functions. Next step, we have to find the equilibrium quantity for each firm. Important to remind yourself too that this is the Cournot equilibrium. So the first thing we're going to do is sub one of those reaction functions that we just solved for into the other. So let's start at QO. We have 22 minus 0.5 times QG. We're going to sub QG's, firm G's reaction function in. So we have 22 minus 0.5 times 20 minus 0.5 QO. Simplifying that a little bit, we have QO equals 22 minus 10 plus 0.25 QO. Simplifying again, 0.75 QO equals 12. And so QO should equal 16. So that's our Cournot equilibrium for Oil Pro. Now we can just plug that into that value of 16 into firm G's reaction function. So we have QG equals 20 minus 0.5 times QO. And so we have QG equals 20 minus 0.5 times 16. And so QG is equal to 12. Part C is asking for us to solve for the market price. So in order to figure this out, we just have to sub the market quantities into the inverse demand function. So we have P equals 100 minus 2 times capital Q. We can break capital Q up into QO and QG. And then we're just going to substitute our values in. So 100 minus 2 times 16 plus 12. And so our P equals 44. So that's our market equilibrium price for this Cournot question. And last but not least, let's figure out the profits. Let's start off with the profit for firm O. So we have our same equation, P minus the marginal cost of O times the quantity of O. And so we sub in 44 minus 12 times 16. And so firm O's profit is equal to 512. Do the same thing for firm G. Price minus the marginal cost of firm G times the quantity that firm G produces. And so we have 44 minus 20 times 12. Break out the calculator, and you should get a profit of 288 for firm G.